It's crazy foggy out there today. You can't even see that huge mountain that's there. Also that huge mountain range that's there. Can't see any of those islands. So yeah, just woke up to this fogginess and just went out and took some photos. Gonna write some songs today. This is day 6 that I'm here. It already feels like it's been weeks. Feels like a really long time. But I'm glad that all that time hasn't passed just yet, because I'm absolutely loving being here. The stillness and the quiet here has an incredible effect just on my mind. My mind tries to race off and do things, but the environment here, it almost just dissipates that possibility. Because you just look out that window and it's just extremely calming. and it tells me that there's really nothing else I need to be thinking about. There's no reason to be thinking about anything else. This is enough. This is enough to look at and be in. So that's really nice. I don't know what I'm going to talk about in this. I haven't planned anything, but I can talk about yesterday. The weather here was wild all day. From the moment I woke up till the moment I went to bed, it was extremely windy and rainy all day long. I was planning on perhaps heading into town to get some things, but when that cranked up, I just kind of bunkered down in here. It was actually a really productive day. I ended up writing 2 songs and doing lots of writing of ideas and journaling. I watched a doco on Michel Gondry, the filmmaker who's done film clips for everyone amazing. He's done lots of Björk's film clips, White Stripes, Daft Punk, Beck, which is his old band. It was a really interesting documentary just about how he approaches creativity and inspiration, and yeah, I got a lot out of that. I guess some of the things that I got out of it was he's just talking about dropping into that creative space. He talked about how his dad was blocked. His dad was a blocked piano player who wanted to improvise, but he would get caught up in his head and he would say, I can't find the notes or whatever. And Michel basically decided that he would never do that and he would just go for it. And he decided there's no reason not to do it and not to be as good as Picasso in what he did. And so from that moment on, he just basically, whenever that kind of speak came into his head about you can't find the notes or you're not good at this or whatever, he would just ignore it. He said you just ignore it. Dismiss it, ignore it and move on. It's a really simple approach, but what I like about it is that it's simple and that he just talks about it being a decision. He just made a decision that that's what he was going to do in the future. And I think that's simple and really powerful. So that was cool. So I think I wrote a song after that, and lots of other just ideas and things kicking around even from watching it. I was sketching out ideas for film clips and different things. And I dreamt about him last night. And I dreamt about this really weird structure to make a film clip, and it's a weird thing. And but from watching the doco and sort of getting to know his approach a bit, it's like, well, just make it, just do it. So yeah, so I had interesting dreams last night. I feel like after being here for 5 days, and it's only been 5 days, this is the 6th day, just being immersed in my creative work, that at this point feels like things are becoming more fluid or less stuck, that it's all kind of holistic in a way, that the more I focus in on doing creative stuff and being present and taking in nature and reading and watching inspiring creative work, that it creates this environment in which my brain has a lot of fodder to feed off. So if I'm writing a lot as well, you know, ideas are coming up. I'm taking photos and working on film stuff on the computer. My mind is just being engaged creatively and with ideas all day long. It's kind of immersed in that world. And then it's kind of self-perpetuating, that ideas now actually are coming far more easily, and I'm taking them up more easily. The impulse to take them up is oiled and ready to go. You know, I'm trusting these ideas more, and also I'm not as precious about whether they're going to work out or not. I'm not worried about, oh, I don't know if I should do that because I don't know if that's a good idea. I'm more in the flow of saying, here's an idea, let's play with it. Let's just play with it and see what happens. Which was another part of my dream that I had last night, which was, it was actually on the cusp of waking up. I was just having these really wonderful thoughts about just playing with the world, experimenting with the world. So, in a way that, in a childlike way, where you give a kid a toy and they just will start playing with it. They don't know what it does. They don't know what it's supposed to do. You know, they don't sit down and read the instructions and go, okay, I need to press this button and then this button, and it creates this intended function. They just start hitting that thing and squeezing bits and twisting it and whatever, and then if it breaks, they try and kind of stick it back together, and I think it's a wonderful analogy as to how to live life, how to create things and be creative, be more creative, but also just how to actually live life, because in a way we're handed an instruction manual by our parents and, you know, our society. We have social norms, all of this stuff, and it's almost like once you've read the manual, it's hard to go back and play spontaneously with the toy or with the world. But I think if you consciously know that's going on, you can kind of tear up the manual and just go, I'm just gonna fuck around. I've got an idea to do this, I'm gonna do it and just see what happens. And that spontaneity, that childlike kind of spontaneity, is something I'd like to bring into my world a bit more. I spend a lot of time planning and organising and structuring my time and my world, and something I'd like to do more is actually just full unadulterated creative play. So it was a really nice dream. It just made me want to get up and play, actually. So it turns writing songs, which can be a really serious and sometimes daunting prospect, into a thing that's just really playful and very easy. Let's just play with this. It's like you give a kid a bunch of paints and they're just gonna, just mix them all in and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, they get a new sheet of paper and go again. So that's where I'm at on day 6.